Bree. Welcome back to my channel, back in another video, and I'm here to talk about the downfall of these online relationship experts. We have been seeing a lot happen within the relationship and dating niche. I know we talked about it several times on the channel where, you have a lot of these relationship gurus giving advice to people on how to date and, what you should do on the first date and, who should split the bills and just all of these topics that have gotten extremely exhausting in my opinion, and I know it's been exhausting for a lot of people out there, and people are just overall getting tired of all the relationship banter that's happening right now. But it is still a very popular topic on social media, and because of that, you've seen a lot of people who have gained a lot of success, a lot of notoriety in the space, speaking about, their own experiences and seemingly giving their qualified advice to people on how to navigate the dating market. And what made me even want to cover this topic, because I was trying to figure out what type of topics I wanted to cover for the channel, and nothing was really coming to mind until this situation popped up on my timeline. I'm like, oh, this actually falls into a bigger umbrella of a topic in regards to relationship experts online and how a lot of them are seeing a decline, not only in their audience, but in their reputation. But before we get into today's topic, I actually wanted to talk about one of my favorite brands, Ana Luisa. So I've talked about Ana Luisa on the channel before, but in case you haven't, Ana Luisa is a sustainable jewelry brand that makes high quality jewelry at affordable prices. They're also very hypoallergenic, and as someone that has very sensitive skin, I really appreciate that a lot. And I actually wanted to show you guys some of the pieces that they sent me. Now, I've talked about before how I loved heart-shaped earrings, and with Valentine's Day approaching really quickly, this is the perfect time to get your heart-shaped jewelry. So this is one of the pieces. I'm actually going to try all of these on camera. Okay, so these are the heart-shaped earrings, super duper cute. I actually have another pair of these in gold, but I really wanted them in silver as well. I like to hop back and forth between gold and silver jewelry a lot, so I really love these. Super duper cute. And continuing on with the silver jewelry, I also have these mini hoops. They're like twisted hoops. Really love these as well. Y'all know I am a hoop girly down, okay? I love my hoops, but I also love these mini hoops because, again, it gives enough of a statement without it being too, over dramatic. Like they're very subtle, but also very cute. And lastly, we have these silver hoops as well. So these are more of like a thick hoop material. All right, and then here are the mini, sorry, I'm not even doing this in the right direction. These are the small silver mini hoops. Again, these are like a thicker hoop, which I really like. I like that both these and these they're small, but they're thick, which I really like because you're not gonna miss them. You'll still see them when I'm wearing them. So yeah, if you guys are interested in purchasing any of the earrings that I showed today, Ana Luisa is actually having a sale right now for Valentine's Day. It's only a limited time, so make sure you guys head over to their website. The link will be in my description as well as my pinned comment, so you guys can check out their entire jewelry collection. As I said earlier, their jewelry is, really high quality and at really good prices. And so if you want to grab yourself something nice to wear for Valentine's Day, or if you want to gift someone something special for Valentine's Day, these would make great gifts, great pieces to wear for, Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day, or, just in general. And this is actually their last sale of the season. So again, they are having a sale, everything up to 25% off. So shop now through the link in my description and make sure you snag your favorites before they're gone. Trust me, you won't regret it. Now, heading back into this video, I really wanted to talk about this topic because if you guys are not familiar, one of the bigger relationship content creators who goes by Ace Metaphor, he has been in some hot water recently with all of the drama surrounding his podcast, I believe. I think it's more so like a panel type thing that has kind of turned into like a podcast type of vibe. But Ace Metaphor runs a platform called Tonight's Conversations, where he has brought on different people and different reoccurring guests to, again, talk about all types of different relationship topics. I actually will insert a few clips just in case you guys, may have seen this content, or maybe you haven't. I'll insert here.
You saying you ain't spending over what, $200 on a date?
Nah, wrong number. I would never spend over $100 on the first date.
Oh, so what's the rationale about the not over $100?
I don't know you.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Describe a first date.
Man, I mean, the last time I went out on a date, whoo, Jesus.
That's why. Probably because don't spend over $100. I'm sorry. You bring these accomplishments to the table, to the dating field. A lot of men, some men, because these triggered, some men, because these triggered.
That's just shit y'all use on the internet.
Some men feel intimidated.
This is crazy.
It is true that a lot of the times we put how we feel onto other people. You feel emasculated, so now she's a bitch. Now she's emasculating you. No, you feel emasculated. Now I'm not going to take away from some of the women, like I said, in that small again with the goddamn village. And that village of women who let it change you. But that's not the experience of most women. It's just not.
And that's what I'm saying. How the f- do you know most women? That makes no sense. You don't know these women.
Is it insecure of a man not to like or want you to dress sexy in order for you to be his wife?
What's sexy?
What I got on, like what I got on right now.
Oh, let me, I gotta get a good look at you. Let me see, where your shirt at? Kitty, what do you think?
I think that sometimes some of y'all women really don't understand how territorial men are. It's different if you were covered up, but baby, you got tape on. So yes, of course, a man who knows how men are going to look at you, knowing that there's going to be men who are going to be predators or going to pursue you, he's right for saying that. That's not meaning that he's insecure. He's territorial. That's a man's nature, and that's absolutely okay.
And yeah, so you may have seen some of their clips go viral. I know their clips tend to go viral a lot on TikTok. I've been more familiar with them through Instagram, but their clips tend to do really, really well because, they tend to have conversations that spark a lot of debate online. And, Ace also has made his own content on his own page, which is where I became familiar with him. And, a lot of his relationship type of videos have also gone viral on the platform. So he's kind of been generally known as someone that people go to for relationship advice, right? And of course, with all of these gurus, some of them, you might like their advice, others maybe not so much. But he's had a really, really big following. And as of recently, some of the guests that he has had on Tonight's Conversations, I know they were also doing a tour, and it was announced that some people were being removed from that tour, and people were trying to figure out, like, what's going on. And the next thing you know, the people that were removed started to speak out against him, and they basically spoke to, and again, I'm just giving like a very broad overview of what was said. One of the more vocal people in this conversation, Keita Rose, she has been going on her platform and spilling all the beans. She has been spilling all the beans about the mistreatment that she faced while working with Ace.
Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of Who the Fuck Did I Work For? So, because I'm unemployed, this is my content now. So if you like content like this, like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that little bell notification. So this is the creator of the pod. This is Randy Rosario, Mike the Poet, Trip Fontaine, Fine Ass Keita Rose, and Mojo Gaja! A lot of you guys are like, well, I don't care about this bitch or that bitch. Where's my favorite? Oh, shit, there she go to your favorite. She be dropping them gems. This is Kitty Rose. She got Randy out quick, fast. She said, I want your spot. How can I manipulate everyone to get it? I'm going to detail that, though, in the following episodes. It's going to be like 500 episodes. Uh-oh, bonus feature. This guy says he used to be with Kitty, but that can't be true because it would have been around the time she was married, and she can't stand side bitches, and she can't stand cheating women. Ho, ho, the drama, the tea. Hope we all heal.
some of the other members that have left, they have been known to have, really good reputations. And the fact that they are choosing to leave and to distance themselves from tonight's conversations, it obviously sparked a lot of question as to, what's going on and what would make them leave, and kind of side-eyeing Ace, right? So obviously his reputation is now being put into question. And I feel like, we've seen the same thing happen time and time again, whether it's an Ace metaphor, whether it's a Derrick Jaxn, whether it's a Kevin Samuels. I mean, Kevin Samuels, literally sparked a ton of debates online. A lot of people have said that Kevin Samuels is the reason why the community is so divided on these topics. I don't know if I would put all that on one particular individual, but I do think, again, people like them, they have created a lot of divisive conversations, whether it was intentional or not intentional. And what a lot of people are coming to realize, not so much with Kevin Samuels per se, but definitely with, Derrick Jaxn and Ace metaphor, a lot of people are coming to realize that the people that they have been following online aren't who they appear to be. And it goes beyond just, their relationship status and whatnot, but it ends up coming out like, that they aren't good people, that they haven't been treating people well. I know obviously with the Derrick Jaxn situation, it was like, he was cheating on his wife. And so it's like, how can you sit here and give people advice on how to be in a committed relationship and how to show up as your best self and how to, treat your partner how they deserve to be treated? How can you say those words, but then you're not acting on it? And that's where a lot of people have started to look at these experts as fraudulent, because they're like, okay, how can you sit there and give advice when you're not even following your own advice? You're not even being the example that you want us to follow. And it's led a lot of people to, becoming upset and hurt and blindsided, right? Obviously there's a lot of different conversations around just how this even came to be, right? Like, how did we get to a place where we gave people like a Derrick Jaxn, like a Ace metaphor, like a Kevin Samuels, such big platforms? And I think there's several different factors that go into it, right? Because you do have the people that are like, oh, well, if you were following their advice, like, that's your fault. Like, why would you look to a stranger on the internet for advice? But my thing is, especially when it comes to dating and relationships, and if that's something that you prioritize in your life, naturally you are going to seek advice from others, right? Like, I don't think that's an unnatural thing to do, right? And obviously when people have built up this really big platform and they have these really big audiences that have almost, because I mean, let's be for real, a lot of times when you see people with really big platforms and really big numbers, people look at that as a sign of credibility. Now I don't necessarily look at it that way, but again, I can see how someone may go to their pages to say, okay, they have this amount of followers and they're doing tours and they're, having people call in for advice. They must know what they're talking about, right? I've seen people say like, oh, like you have to be desperate to go to these relationship experts. I don't think you necessarily have to be desperate to consume their content. I think it just depends on how you go about it. Obviously, I don't agree that you should ever idolize anybody and that you should just blindly follow any and everything that someone tells you. I don't care what the topic is, what they're giving advice on, unless you have gone to school and unless you have the credentials, and shoot, even then you have to be cautious, right? So I don't think that you necessarily have to be desperate to seek out relationship advice online from others. But I do think one of the main takeaways from, again, not just the whole Ace situation, but just making it into like a broader thing, like why we keep running into these issues where you have this big relationship guru expert that people are looking up to, and then everyone getting angry and upset and disappointed when it comes out that they are actually not good people behind the scenes, which that in itself is also very interesting. Like the fact that, again, this keeps happening to where you have these people that present themselves as not necessarily perfect per se, but they present themselves as someone that can guide other people. They try to present themselves as the example to follow, as I said earlier, and then you find out that they are doing some pretty shady things behind closed doors. And that's why you have to be careful about who you follow, whose content that you consume, and you have to build up that discernment, right? That discernment to not only peep, when people seem like they might be fake, or they may not have good intentions, or they may not even believe the own words that, are coming out of their mouth. But also being able to kind of pick apart, what works for you, right? And that's kind of how I navigate these type of topics and how I navigate all the chatter online is, I listen to it and I take it with a grain of salt. And if I hear something that sounds like it could be beneficial for me in particular, and I'm like, okay, like that's actually not bad advice, I'll take bits and pieces of things that I feel make sense for me. But I'm not gonna sit here and just blindly follow people's advice, especially if it's things that, I wouldn't normally do or I don't feel is aligned with who I am as a person. I'm not going to change that because of what's being said online. And again, we see a lot of these people. I know that someone in the comments is going to say like, oh, are you only going to mention black men? So just to throw another example out there, right? Shara7, she is someone that goes online and gives women advice, and she has very controversial advice when it comes to, women. And some people would argue that she gives advice to women that are looking to be taken care of, and women that are looking to I don't want to say taking advantage of men but she gives advice that is meant to help women not get bamboozled, right? Like that's kind of how her advice is presented, right?
Tips on how to be mean and stay feminine. I struggle because you get defensive. Well, if the man is giving you money, then you can always find a way not to be mean unless they like you being mean. So you have to know who you're dealing with first. You know who you're dealing with first, then you can act however you know you can get away with. But if you don't know the person, you need to feel them out first. Okay? So whoever you're with, you need to feel them out. You need to slowly let out your meanness and see how they react to just a little bit. If they can't handle a little bit, when you pull back and you then use more power of suggestion. Okay, you got to get more manipulative if you can't just say what you need to say, because some men's ego can't take that, and their egos are very fragile. So that's when women have to get more manipulative and conniving and sneaky.
But again, you can take her advice with a grain of salt. You don't have to listen and follow everything that she says. Just take bits and pieces for what makes sense for you. Because listen, I'm not going to sit up here and act like, because again, I was familiar with Ace Metaphor and his content. And that's why when I saw everything unfold the way that it did, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. But I didn't feel like, betrayed or sad over it, because I'm like, I enjoyed his content, but I also could do without his content. Like it didn't make or break anything for me. But for some people, they really were like heavy into his content and relying on his advice to help them in the dating scene. And I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I've never watched any of his videos and I didn't agree with something that he said. Like there have been times where he has said something and I'm like, he makes a really good point. And I've said that about all of these gurus, except Derrick Jaxn, because I've never watched Derrick Jaxn's stuff, never saw any like clips or anything, had no idea who he was until his whole scandal came to be, right? But with Kevin Samuels, again, did not watch his content, but obviously his clips and stuff went viral. And, there's a few things that circulated around on other platforms like Instagram and Twitter. And there were a few moments where Kevin Samuels would say something. And I'm like, okay, I actually agree with this piece of it. Like there would be times where like people would play like, part of his like episodes or like his segments where he would be talking to someone like either on Instagram Live or people who would call in to his show. And I'm like, okay, I don't agree with this part of it, but I agree with that. Or I would agree with something that he said, but like not the way that he said it. You know what I mean? And so, but again, like at the end of the day, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating, you have to do what is best for you. You have to, if you're gonna seek advice, you can seek advice, but don't let other people's advice and opinions dictate, your entire life and how you decide you want to do things. Because at the end of the day, again, especially if you don't have no credentials and you didn't get any schooling behind this or case studies or whatever the case may be, a lot of these people that are giving advice are giving advice based off of their own experiences, their own opinions, and their own personal bias. And you have to kind of figure out how to navigate through all of that. And that's why it's kind of dangerous to blindly follow anybody on the internet, because not only is everything based off of just their own experiences, but also they might be faking. They might be telling you things that they don't even believe themselves. So they're misleading you and telling you things that they don't even believe in. It happens all the time. There's so many content creators out there that are literally giving you a fake persona of themselves just for the likes, just for the view, just for the clicks, just to appeal to certain audiences. But they may not even be who they really are and what they truly believe in, right? And so I say all that to say, I think that in regards to all of these relationship experts and them getting exposed and people feeling, misled and betrayed, I get it. But I think this has now happened so many times that we really need to learn from these situations and say, okay, because I know things are still unfolding with the whole Ace situation, even though, in my personal opinion, he still does not look favorable in the situation. I know that he's put out a post or two, kind of he put out a post and then had to delete it. I don't know what's going on, but right now I still feel that there's something weird there, and I'm just gonna let the situation play out. But at the end of the day, I think that all of this is a learning lesson that you should not follow these gurus and these experts, in quotations, so blindly without any level of discernment. Because at the end of the day, you have to decide what is best for you. And I get it. Dating is scary. Relationships are scary. That's why I took such a long time to just focus on me before I even wanted to think about dating again, because it is a lot. You have a lot of different opinions, not just online, but even in your personal life. People telling you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. People debating if you should split the bill on a first date. People talking about, should you live together before you get married? It's so many things. Having kids. Should you get married before you have kids? That's a really big debate online. It's so much noise. There's so much noise out there when it comes to all of these topics. So at the end of the day, you have to take the time to really sit with yourself and figure out what you want to do, what you want your dating experience to look like, and go from there. Again, nothing wrong with seeking advice here and there, but ultimately the only person that knows what's going to work for them is you. And whatever that looks like is whatever that looks like. Don't let people tell you what you should and shouldn't do. There's certain things that, I choose not to do, even though it may be an unpopular opinion or take, the whole multi-dating thing, right? I personally I don't say I don't agree, but that's not something I'm interested in doing. I'm interested in being very intentional with who I date. I believe in, taking my time and focusing in on one person at a time. I don't believe in having a roster. I don't believe in dating 10 people at a time. That's just not me. That's not of any interest to me. And even though I've had people try to persuade me in, doing that, I'm like, no, that's not something that I'm interested in. That's not something that I'm comfortable with doing. And it honestly doesn't even align with my values when it comes to dating either. And I think that should be respected. The same way I respect people that decide to do that, I also want the same respect in return for me who doesn't want to do that, right? So I think just across the board, people should do what works for them. Again, take any advice that you get with a grain of salt. Discern and figure out if that advice really does apply, and if it doesn't, let it fly. You don't have to listen to all of all the noise that's out there. Just do what is best for you. And when you do that and you see again all of these people who are getting exposed and coming out that their content is fake or whatever the case may be, or they have ill intent behind their words, it won't affect you as badly, because at the end of the day, you have your own mind, your own opinions. It's not going to affect you one way or the other. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the topic. If you guys have any thoughts, make sure you guys comment down below. If you guys have any thoughts too, specifically about the Ace situation, if you guys want me to dive into that deeper, I kept it kind of vague for this video, but if that's something that you guys are interested in me diving into deeper, let me know. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time or the capacity to do a full-fledged breakdown, especially too because there's still things unfolding like day by day with everybody. So I also will say like no promises, but if enough people ask, then you know, maybe once things start to kind of wrap up with that situation, I'll do a deep dive on it if that's something that you guys are interested in me doing. Yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. Once again, if you guys are interested in shopping any of these pieces from Ana Luisa, check out the link in my bio to shop their Valentine's Day sale. Everything is up to 25% off, so make sure you guys head over to the link before everything sells out. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.